Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and I hope that you guys are able to hear me well because I'm outside, but want to just be in a relaxed setting where I just kind of freestyle this next kind of topic. It's actually a follow-up topic. So in a previous video, I had did mentioning about not being at the bottom of your social circles, and the main reason or purpose behind that was more in the aspect of not being someone's stepping stone, not being, say, bullied in the social group, or, how sometimes you have a social hierarchy dynamic where, say, if it's like about 5 or 6 people, whether it's a work environment, whether it's a school environment, whatever the case is, and you feel that, or you might be placed into a category where you're at the bottom. You have maybe 1 or 2 guys at the top who are the ones who everybody likes to be around. Then you have somewhere in the middle who are probably the ones who, I don't want to call them the followers, but they don't get ragged on. They're the ones who just kind of play their position. They don't ever try to usurp the top, but they are happy that they're not the bottom, and they're fine with that. Then you have whoever's at the bottom, and my point of that was, if you were placed at the bottom, don't let yourself be there or remain there. Find a way to get yourself out of that standing, if that was the case. Now, that's just paraphrasing what I was trying to get at the other video. But another viewer who posted up a comment by the name of Fusion Z mentioned about another perspective in which I guess they interpreted where I was going with things, and I wanted to see if I can dive into things a little bit from that aspect, and kind of clarify. Well, one, I already clarified that that's kind of not the angle that I was talking about, which I'm going to say the points that they were kind of mentioning here. But then now I'm going to try to dive into those points that the person was mentioning, with the hopes that I could kind of provide a little bit of aspect in that, and then actually a flip side aspect of that as well. So the viewer was thinking in terms of how would that affect in terms of you maybe trying to find yourself a promotion, in terms of a higher standing in your work position, to be next in line for, like, say, a raise or something like that case, where you kind of make yourself stand out in your social circles or whatever the case is at work for that purpose, or maybe even placing yourself in a higher standing in your social hierarchy for the purpose of at work, for the purpose of maybe down the line, if someone decides they want to open up their own business and you could be a partner with them, and go into business with them. And then I totally get and grasp that concept in terms of, how a person would do that. But I would then want to add to that concept that might straggle along the lines of, and not that the viewer meant this, I would definitely assume, but just throwing this out there as just general conversation, that you would never want to fall into the realm of the quote unquote the guy who's trying to maybe, as they would say, kiss ass, or try to get himself up to the top the wrong way, alienating your other social circles around you to get to the top. And like I said, once again, I don't think that the viewer of the channel was meaning it in that way, but more from a positive standpoint. But just throwing out that it is very possible to be seen that way within your social circles, and actually then can backfire on you if you went about it in that way to aggressively change your position because you're trying to get ahead, versus change your position because you're trying to protect yourself from being stepped on. And it's two separate concepts. Now, the flip side that I want to take on that approach is there's actually absolutely nothing wrong and very positive with you trying to be a positive social person in your work environment, or whatever social environment that you're in, for the purpose of networking. Because as we mentioned in some previous videos before, that networking is obviously something that goes into the category of what people quote unquote say is part of like a high value guy, or having that kind of dynamic in your pocket to say, okay, I have resources, but I also have networks. I have people that I can associate with that can help me get into other channels. So I would definitely say there's nothing wrong with that, and that's always a positive thing. And I would say, though, the flip to it is not just then be that way. If you're trying to progress in that way, just in the social circles at work, know that you could find that even outside of work. You could find that in any kind of social circles or dynamics. I'm going to use an example. A relative of mine that we, were always close and would associate, came up with some kind of business ideas when we were younger. Later on, we got a little bit older. We were still in our young 20s at the time, decided to open up a business together and had a great learning experience from it. And then even moving forward now in time, I have other friends and family who are now also elevating at a certain level where we can make business plans together, in which we intend to, because we're all on that kind of same page. So I say that to say you don't necessarily have to find that connection from somebody in the work environment. You can either find it outside of the work environment or be the catalyst that starts that. Because sometimes, similar to where you might have the mindset of, if I know someone who is going to start business and I can be a partner, maybe you could say, I will start the business and they could be a partner to me, and you're the one who kind of initiates that push forward, and then they decide to bring to the table the components that maybe you may have been lacking in the first place, that you would have said to yourself, okay, maybe I wasn't going to initially try to start a business on my own because I was worried that these certain traits that I'm lacking or qualities that I'm lacking to complete it, maybe they can complete it for you. So even though you may not feel like you can quote unquote be the leader of the operation, doesn't mean you can't still pitch it to your friends and then have it get started that way. So I'm hoping that was able to help a little bit. I will gladly try to dive deeper into the topic if I can, but at that point I probably have to do a little bit more research and information, as I'm not fully familiar with the corporate world as much, and I think that's where this viewer was coming from, this standpoint of more the corporate world, I'm gonna guess. But I hope that bit of information was able to help. I am happy and love and appreciate getting questions and comments to the channel, so that way I have more content to give back to you guys, as the whole purpose of the channel is to expand our group knowledge to all the viewers in a positive note, and for everyone to just be able to enjoy and take something from the channel. And with that being said, I'll catch you guys in the next video.